come with me for a dive. We're going to dive at Tulamben village in Bali on a place called the Tulamben Wall. There's a really narrow volcanic black rocky beach here, so it's not a white sandy beach, but it's a great place to go diving from. It's really interesting as soon as you put your head under the water because the sand is black and the rocks are dark, so it looks quite different than anywhere else you've dived probably, especially if you're like me, you come from somewhere where the sand is white. But you swim down the slope here and you just go through clouds of small electric blue damselfish. As you move further around, when we got to the start of the wall, we found a couple of lionfish. These guys spread out all their fins just to let you know that they've got venomous spines, but also use them to shepherd little fish into corners of the reef so that they can catch them easily. This is one of the most elegant fish on the reef, the emperor angelfish. See the big blue spike on the bottom of its gill cover there on its cheek? That's one way you can tell it's an angelfish. That's pretty consistent, that sort of big backward facing spike. So if you're looking at sort of a brightly coloured disc-shaped fish and you're wondering, oh, is that an angelfish? Look for the spike on the cheek. This one here is a regal angelfish, and you can see the spike there as well. It's also blue on this fish, although not quite as obvious. As we get further around the wall, it gets steeper, vertical drop down. You start to see more of the big filter feeding invertebrates. So this one's one of the black corals, big feathery coral extending out from the wall, filter feeding out of the current that flows past, also providing shelter for lots of small fish. Big school of golden sweepers or golden bullseyes here, just under the ledge above it. Right next to it, a huge yellow Gorgonian sea fan, doing the same thing, just sticking out from the wall so it can filter feed from the current as the water washes by. There's also a lot of sponges here. These tube sponges are that shape, just like the chimney on your house or your potbelly stove. As the current flows past the end of the tube, it helps draw water from the tube, so the water flows through the walls of the tube and is filtered and feeding the sponge as it flows. Nice big anemone here with skunk anemone fish on top, but I'm already looking over the back trying to see those solitary bannerfish. A lot of bannerfish swim in big schools, but this one is just a pair here, and they're called the solitary bannerfish, but beautiful big fish just picking around the reef, picking at coral polyps, looking for things to eat. This is a small giant clam, if that makes sense, Tridacna maxima, and right next to him, hiding on the reef, can you see him there lurking on the rock? Nice camouflage, whiskery face. Some sort of scorpion fish. I haven't looked that one up, I don't know exactly what that one is, but further around the wall you'll also find not only soft corals but hard corals. A couple of branching corals here. The lighter tips on the end of the branches are the new growth, so the coral is growing quite happily there. Two types of lionfish under this ledge. There's the big one, the regular lionfish there, and these smaller ones here are the spot fin lionfish. You can see the spots in the fins on the one on the top there quite easily, and even the Latin name's easier to remember because it's antenata, because those side fins stick out like little antennas. Fish are really curious, like a lot of animals, so you can see them gather around when something's going on. Something's definitely going on here, so there's a whole bunch of different species, and right in the middle you can can see what's causing the interest, and it's really that leopard moray or reticulated moray eel that's right in the middle, and this big blue-faced angel is having a bit of a go at him, giving him a bit of a push around, not happy with it. Again, look at this angelfish here, beautiful big angelfish and a huge spike on the bottom of his gill cover there. So as soon as you see him, you know, oh, he's an angelfish, and you can work out which one he is by looking him up later. That's a blue-faced angelfish, a masked angelfish, and there's also, I think, a couple of regal angelfish hanging around here too. And there's the moray eel. It always surprises me when you see fish pushing around a moray eel like that, because the moray's got decent teeth and he could probably just bite the angelfish if he felt like it. But sometimes the fish know what they're doing, and they can be a bit cheeky. Heading back towards the entry point, we're coming back across the boulders. There's a few grubfish there. Some of you might recognise them from my local videos where we have the little wavy grubfish that often come around the crabecam. These big grubfish here never let me get close as I wanted to. They kept swimming away. But as we swam back up through the boulders, we also found another angelfish. This one's a little bit harder to see the spike, but you can see it there. It's just yellow. He's got the big yellow spike at the bottom of his gill cover. This one's a 3-spot angelfish. As you get right up into the shallows, the rocks are all just bare because they get tumbled around in the surf. It's only a few feet deep here. We're almost back up to the beach. Up, there we go. Time to go up. Signal from the dive guide. It's easy. Swim up into the shallows, take your fins off, step out, a couple of steps up, and you can jump back into the tuk-tuk and get driven back to wherever you're staying.